Today I'm going to start my skylight replacement on my 2015 THOR Challenger 37 DT. That I can park my unit in my driveway. I'm going to get up there carefully and begin the process of removing the old skylight. I'm covered up with tarps right now because we've had a lot of rain the last few days. I got a window of about a week where it's going to be nice and clear. So I'm going to go ahead and attempt to do this over the next day or two here. I'm going to remove the tarp and then begin to peel. You can see I've started to remove some of the self-leveling silicone, and some people call it adhesive, but it's just a time-consuming process. I've had the silicone up a few spots where it cracked. This material is only 1/8 inch thick, and I bought the unit used, so I'm not sure if somebody stepped on it or maybe hit a tree or whatever, pushed on it too hard when they were cleaning the roof, etc. But I've got some cracks in all four corners. I didn't notice that until the last rainstorm. The good thing is that it's over the shower area, so it didn't leak into the roof area. So here you can see I'm peeling away the self-leveling compound, and it's kind of like plumber's putty, and exposing the heads of the square drive screws, which are going to be here, all the way around the perimeter of the skylight. So we got to remove all that, and then we're going to remove all this all the way around the perimeter. So you want to just be careful not to rip this membrane right here. Okay, here's my status so far. Getting all the screws, starting to scrape a little bit very carefully off the edges. You gotta use a pick. I have this pick tool to kind of clear out some of the square hex drive. Get all that cleared out best you can so you can get your drive in there. You just come back through. You can see that the self-leveling compound is still kind of gooey. So even though it's dried up and years old, it's still, kind of like plumber's putty. Pretty crazy. Creates a pretty decent seal from what it looks like. Okay. Just take your time, super careful. I have a dulled out scraper that I'm using, and I'm just taking my time. You can see I have it angled so it doesn't go towards the membrane of the roof. And just take your time, and you can see it comes up. I'd pull on it, but I'm using the camera to, if you pull on it at the same time while you're scraping like that, you'll see that it comes up a little bit easier. Okay, just take your time. See that we're getting there, halfway done, just taking our time. It's very tedious work, just so you don't rip the membrane. That's the most important thing at this point. So you can see that I've removed all the sealant, the Dicor, from around the perimeter and around the screws. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use this pick, and I'm going to clean out all the screws like this, because you've got to be able to get your square drive to fit inside of that head of that screw, and as long as you get that all cleared out, you should be able to reuse the screws if needed. This particular screw doesn't look like it's stainless steel where some of the other ones do. Here's another screw that is it's coated with a white coating, but you can see how it's the head of it's all plugged up with the Dicor, so we got to get that out so we can get the screw out. I'm removing the first screw, and I'm just going to use my snap-on ratcheting screwdriver just to see how easy the screws come out. I mean, you can use a electric driver, go a lot faster, but I want to make sure I don't damage the heads of the screws, because I want to reuse these screws if possible. Okay. All right, so I've removed 29 screws from around the perimeter of the skylight. One thing that I did notice in a few corners, they didn't really put a screw directly in the corner. On that upper corner, the lower one. The only one that they did was right here, which was kind of weird, because that close to the edge, They could crack it when you reinstall it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and separate this Dicor between the skylight and the membrane of the roof, and do that very carefully, just kind of sliding the spatula or spatula underneath like that, but I'm going to be super careful and take my time. So yeah, here we are. We're just going to work our way around. Just take your time, because you don't really want to crack it, and you don't want to cut through the roof membrane. So just slow and easy, and it'll eventually loosen up. You just kind of work your way around. I'm not prying up, I'm just kind of slicing through the Dicor, and then I'll worry about removing it after I get the skylight off. Time consuming, but it's going pretty good. I just keep working my way around. You got to kind of push real slow. The Dicor is super pliable. Seems like it's kind of fresh on this one. Maybe it had been replaced before, but it's taking a little bit of pressure to get it off. I'm just taking my time, pushing it through, okay? Trying not to rip the roof membrane. As I'm removing it, I actually found where the main crack was, which was right here. And you can see it's cracked all the way across here. And it really didn't take much, but it was causing it to drip into the shower, and I think there was another leak right here. But we're getting there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this interior cover, which goes up to the skylight, because I don't want to damage it when I'm scraping all the material off the top. Once I get the skylight off, I've taken the shower head down, and it's just kind of resting there. Coated the bottom of the shower area so none of the debris gets down into the drain. And I'm going to remove all these screws here very carefully. You got to be careful, because if you let it hang, you'll probably end up with a crack like that. So you just want to be really careful, and you don't want to over tighten any of those screws, because this stuff gets really, the plastic gets very brittle because of the sun and the heat. So you can crack those really easily, and I'm sure they're not cheap. Okay. That we saw from above, there was another crack up in here, and you can see the foam insulation on the roof. This is our headliner right in here. It looks pretty good. So we're going to continue the removal process. So I'm getting ready to remove the original skylight, and I've labeled it just so I kind of know where everything is, just in case I need that information. Kind of marked it with a pencil, front, back, and I've marked the edges, the four corners, just so I can get good alignment in case I want to reuse these existing holes, the hole pattern. Some people re-drill and make new holes, but I'm not sure if I want to Swiss cheese the roof of the RV, just in case further down the road I need to replace the skylight again. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it and start scraping. This is what it looks like before I start scraping. After the skylight's been removed, the condition looks pretty good. Looks like it should be pretty straightforward. We just don't want to rip the membrane here. And we're looking down into the shower area where we remove the inside scooching, I guess they call it, but the inside skylight area, okay? And that keeps moisture from getting up into this area here. So this is what it looks like before I start scraping. After the skylight's been removed, the condition looks pretty good. Looks like it should be pretty straightforward. We just don't want to rip the membrane here. And we're looking down into the shower area where we removed the inside scooching, I guess they call it, but the inside skylight area, okay? And that keeps moisture from getting up into this area here. All right, here's my package of Dicor Sealant that I ordered from West Coast Georgia Camping and RV. Got it off. You can find it on Amazon too. It's pretty well packed, which is cool. I got the 4-pack. Okay. So it looks pretty well packed. Some people said that they got it and the tubes were broken open, but everything looks to be okay. Oh, there we go. Curious George. That's what we got. White 501 LSW sealant. Place my skylight over the opening. I've kind of marked it all the way around. I've got my Dicor up here. Got my tools, installation tools, my caulking gun. Everything's ready. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the skylight. And I was going to pre-drill the holes. Not exactly sure. I think what I'll do is I'll drill them as I go. Dicor Self Leveling compound over all the holes. It's soaking into the existing holes. And I'm going to go ahead and lay the existing new replacement skylight over that, and it should basically flatten out and seal. I've placed the skylight over the Dicor and pushed it down lightly, and I'm going to go ahead and start installing the screws from this side across so that I don't get any cracking. If you install here and then go to the middle, you could buckle it here. So we'll go ahead and do that. All the screws in. The Dicor is working its way as it compresses. And you just want to be careful. Don't over tighten the screws because you'll crack the skylight, the new skylight. So I'm just going to go back around and just carefully just double check the tension with my screwdriver and even them all up. Okay. Is that it gets into the holes of the skylight and basically pushes up and seals the screw. So all the way up the shaft of the screw there, you've got sealant coming out. So, and the stuff flows. So I highly recommend the Self Leveling Dicor Sealant. The screws, and you can see the Dicor Self Leveling Sealant is doing its job exactly what it should be doing. Today it's about 75 degrees out, probably closer to 80 up here on the roof, but you can see it's flowing real nice. That's 1 tube's worth so far. So I'm gonna go ahead and run a bead around the outside and we'll get it to level out real nice, look clean. And cut the tip large enough so you can get good flow on your caulking gun, okay? That way it doesn't take as much pressure and you can really get some large quantities of the self-leveling sealant out. You can see the Dicor has flowed. It's not completely dry, of course, but it's starting to do its thing. And it's leveling out and it looks pretty good. Pretty happy and confident that we're going to have a good seal. Looking pretty good. Give it a 24 hours to cure up. I think we'll be all right. We'll come back, and if we have to lay some more leveling Dicor on there, we're going to do it. So, but it all looks pretty good. Install the over the shower screen, and my son's going to hand me the driver, which is on the lowest setting. I'm gonna back and hand tighten these. Because I don't want to crack the plastic fascia. Very good. That's done. And that's good. We're all good. We'll clean up the shower and we're done.